Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June Zoning Board of Appeals for the Town of Carmel. We are a light bench today, so if anyone is looking for a holdover because of that, please let us know. If not, what we do is we bring you up for your application, we swear you in, you tell us what you want to do, we'll have some questions, we'll open up to the public, and then we'll vote on it tonight. Board members' names are in front of you. We have Town Council Greg Falchetti and Director of Code Enforcement Michael Carnazza here as well. Can we please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Application number 1 of Frank Giordano. We've been advised by council that they're looking for a second holdover. Can I get a motion?
Sorry. Motion to hold over.
Second.
Second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Application number 2, the application of Bore Cottage. We got indication from council that they're looking for a second holdover. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Application number 3, application of Rodolfo Rogue for a variation of section 156-20, seeking a variance for permission to retain a 6-foot fence in the front yard. The property is located at 116 Glenida Avenue, Carmel, New York. It is known as tax map number 44.13-2-70. The code requires 4 foot. We have a 6 foot, so a variance of 2 feet is required. Is Mr. Rogue here?
Mr. Roque is not here yet.
He's not here yet. Okay, so we'll just put it for a second call. I don't think we need a motion, right?
No, just move on.
Second call.
Yep.
Application of Sonia Saldaris Family Trust for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain a shed. The property is located at 58 Steiner Drive, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 64.9-1-10. The code requires a 10-foot, which is provided is 1 foot, and the variance required is 9 foot. Good evening.
Hello,
You don't have to sign in if you're, well, actually, are you Sonia?
I am.
Okay, that's fine. Raise your right hand.
I
Promise.
watch television, they sign in.
Some people do, some people. We're gonna let you slide. Raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, so you're here for a variance. Tell us what happened and what's going on.
Well, we have a shed that we've had for 40 years.
Hold on 1 second. Could you just make sure you're speaking to the microphone
Yeah,
because they have to
thanks.
record this
Sorry.
for minutes.
We have a shed that we've had for 40 years. We built it ourselves with the help of our neighbor whose property it's impinging on. In fact, he actually selected the location. We're on a hill and it was difficult to locate.
And the shed's still in pretty good shape?
Pretty good shape. I believe you have some pictures.
and there's no other
Needs
land-
a little paint, but it's hanging in there.
There's no other land that you could buy to bring it closer into
No.
conformance? There's no way you can move that in
No.
any way? Okay. I'll open it up to John.
You built that 40 years ago?
40.
Wow. Did a good job. When did you do the stone wall around it?
In the back or in the front?
In the front, on the side?
40 years ago.
Wow.
It was a little uneven there, and I had to have a garden.
I think it looks like maybe the gutter needs to be repaired.
Actually, the gutter has been removed. The downspout's still there because my daughter wanted it.
Okay,
Don't ask questions.
yeah,
You have all the answers.
yes. And there's no electric in there?
No electric, no.
No further questions?
Rose?
Why is this coming up now?
Well, I believe that we didn't need a variance until we were going to sell the property. And so pre-COVID, we thought there was a possibility of selling, and I came in for an application. COVID happened, and everything got delayed. And it happened to come at the same time Steiner Drive was audited, so
Right. It's very well screened.
I'm sorry?
It's very well screened. There's a lot of shrubbery around it.
Well, not near it, no, but there's a rock wall, which my neighbor doesn't use anything over the rock wall. You can see there's some small trees there. Actually, I maintain that area. as
I have
far
no
as
other questions.
gardening.
Okay. Silvio?
And obviously, your neighbors have no issues with this, right? It's been there for
My-
40 years.
My neighbor offered to come tonight, but I told her I didn't think it was necessary.
No questions. other than that.
Julie?
No questions.
Okay. Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? No? Then I will wait for a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
I have a
Second.
Second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. You can hang around and we'll be voting later.
I have a ride, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Application number 5, application of A. Guaman and D. Fernandez for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain addition, deck, and stairs. The property is located at 619 Route 6N, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 75.6-2-65. The code requires 20-foot in the rear. What is provided is 13 feet, seeking a variance of 7 feet. The deck is also 20 feet in the rear. What is provided is 12, seeking a variance of 8. And then the deck to patio is 10 feet, looking for a variance of 10 feet. Okay. Who's going to be speaking on behalf? Everyone? Everyone's going to, okay. Is your attorney there going to speak?
Yeah, he's my translator.
Translator.
All right, so you're going to be, are you going to be doing most of the talking? Okay, so I'm going to swear you in, okay? I'm going to swear you in twice. Raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. Do you promise to translate correctly from English into, is it Spanish? Yes. And Spanish into English, as we ask? Yes. Thank you. Okay, why don't you state your name for the record, right into the microphone? No, the young man, your attorney.
You can take the microphone off. And oh, there's the extra microphone that's there.
All right.
Here you go. Okay, so why don't you give your name,
My name is Taylor Gorman,
okay, and where do you live?
619,
Okay,
Route 6N.
okay. And are you here today because your family's looking for a variance? All right, are you here?
Yes.
This is your dad and your mom?
Yes.
Okay, so Dad, why don't we say, what is your name?
My name is Alonso Woman.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, how's your English, okay?
A little bit.
Okay, so we're going to try to push through to you. All right, grab the microphone. Put the attorney on retainer, and we'll hold him for later.
Oh,
What are you looking to?
I'm sorry. She wanted to speak.
She's going to speak too? All right, so raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. State your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Digna Fernandez.
Okay, you're the best of the bunch right here, okay. All right, so what are we looking to do here? Tell us.
We need a variance for the three-season room, stairs, and the little porch is going to the patio.
Okay,
So
and I'm go- Go on.
yes, we just buy the house like 20 days ago. We just moved in the house, we enjoy the house, and we decide to close like that because we like the house, and we didn't know how we have to do the right thing about the variance and everything, so we're trying to do the best we can.
Absolutely, and
And we're trying to keep it because I have my three little girls. The little one is 1 year old, and we comfortable with the stairs to go to the patio because if they move like by the front, we're scared because the Route 6N is
Right.
a lot of traffic. So
Okay.
yeah.
And there's no other land that you could buy to make this easier, to bring it into conformance, correct?
No, because it's by the side. It's
Right.
not to back.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Julie, any questions?
No questions.
Silvio?
Just for clarification, so you added it on, or you bought the house with it on? Because you said you only bought it 20 days ago? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
we-
it was already there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this came up in
I
title.
don't know how long.
Ooh, okay.
And they were trying to get this to happen, and I told them there's a chance. I said, you have a variance that you have to get, so they were
Okay.
told.
Okay.
What happened is, in the past, they got a variance for a deck, the previous people.
Yep.
Right.
And they built this on top of where the deck is, so that's why there's already that number there, but it's only for a deck, not the
Gotcha.
structure above.
Gotcha. No questions.
Okay. Rose?
We received from the New York City Department of
Environmental protection.
Environmental
Protection.
Protection.
I got you,
Sorry.
Rose.
Thank you. My brain's not working
I
tonight.
waited.
Apparently, your fence, your garden, and your shed are not on your property.
I don't think it says that.
By
I
the
think it said,
stairs?
They're
I think it said a
encroaching
shed
on-
base,
The shed base.
That
which
shed
is
was
down.
Shed
removed.
base.
Oh, the shed was removed?
or else they'd be here for a variance for it.
Yeah. It's the shed.
So
base.
It's a
there's a-
fence and a garden and a shed base.
Yeah, so I think that that's
Nothing, no parts of
a
the,
frame thing, which is not a subject of this variance.
Right, but
Oh,
We don't
can we
enforce,
grant a variance when there are outstone?
these variances are not those structures.
different.
So we don't have to worry about,
They're not town structures. I mean, they're not violations. They're, the DEP has a right to tell them to get off of their property.
Right.
But we don't enforce that.
okay.
These are
Shed
not
base.
structures. They are all flat. The garden is obviously a garden, and the shed base is just literally a deck on the ground, so a patio.
And the variance is
No
for
variance
their
is needed
prop-
for
it's
any of
For
them.
their property.
That's
It's
correct.
just for their property. Are you aware of this letter? Have you received this letter?
No,
From the New York State?
no,
No?
no.
Some of the property that you're using is beyond the property line, so you're gonna wanna find out where that is and pull back.
I give my copy.
Yeah, we could give you
Yeah,
a
you
copy.
can have this copy.
Is that color?
Either one, it's the same letter.
Is that color?
Thank you.
And you have the pictures
Thank
in
you.
there that shows what they're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. That way you have that so you can make that right too, but that has nothing to do with what's going on here.
If you give me a call during the week, you could come see me, I'll show you on the map.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Rose.
That's okay. Are you, how long has this addition been up?
They just put
You can't tell if it's been a year, 5 years, 10 years?
No, we
looks
don't
like
have,
it's
we
older.
don't have idea because, you know, we just
Yeah.
move and we take
Okay.
it like that.
And the deck, you don't know how long it is?
No, we don't know.
Okay. No other questions?
Thank you. John?
Does that need to be further inspected, Mike? That, the deck or the,
It's a civil matter between the DEP and them.
no, yeah, I'm saying the deck and the addition.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get a building permit, I'll go out and inspect,
Oh,
and then
okay.
if it passes, then they get the CO.
Yeah.
But none of these items are over the property line on the DEP's property.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he can't issue the CO until we grant the variance. Right, right.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Does anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? Okay, I'll wait for a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a seat, we'll decide.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Mr. Roquet came in if you're interested.
Wait for the end. We'll go in order. Okay, so now, application number
outside. I
6.
saw him outside.
Application of 728 Route 6 LLC for a variation of section 156-15, 156-41C9, seeking a variance for permission to alter originally variance front yard. New setback will be 15 foot. Code requires commercial building to exist more than 25 feet from property line to have freestanding sign. Building is 15 feet from property line. The property is located at 728 US Route 6, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 76.22-1-54.
The owner is here, but I don't see his representative.
Okay.
Oh,
You're
he's
probably
with
better off
counsel.
waiting for him, yes.
All right, so we'll second call that as well.
And then Mullins Bill Schilling, he's not here either, so.
All right, so then we'll go back to Rogue.
Is Mullen Phil?
Yeah, yeah. Mullins Bill.
All right.
So we'll go back to Rogue.
Is the Laura Mullen application here? Anyone? No one's here, okay. Okay, so,
They're here to speak.
Laura Mullen?
this never
that
happens
correct?
when
John,
John is here, you know.
you know,
Laura Mullen's
Starting to
here.
think it's personal.
Laura Mullen is here? Is
No.
Laura Mullen?
Okay.
She's not here.
All right, so we're going to go back to second call on application of Rodolfo Rogue for a variation of section 156-20, seeking a variance for permission to retain a 6-foot fence in the front yard. Property is located at 116 Glenada Avenue, Carmel, New York, and is known as tax map number 44.13-2-70. The code requires 4 feet. What is provided is 6 feet, and you're looking for a 2-foot variance. All right? Could you raise your right hand? Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, can you state your full name and address for the record, please?
Rodolfo Roque, 116 Glenada Avenue, Carmel, New York.
Okay, I apologize for saying Rogue for your name.
Been called worse.
Okay, so what are we looking to do here, sir?
I don't know, fence is up.
How long has the fence been up?
Over 25 years.
Okay,
What
and,
happened is, it deteriorated, so I was replacing it. And
Dennis.
Dennis,
Is it exactly
Dennis.
the same as it was?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Same place, same,
same holes, everything.
and you replaced panels?
Yeah, it's a wooden fence with the dog ear. We used to have the arrow points on top, and now they call it dog ear like that,
Yeah.
and they're wood. It's wood.
Well, it was wood prior too, right?
Yeah, same thing, wood.
Except the pointy spigot on top
Yeah, yeah,
instead
yeah,
of being
It was a
squared up.
picket fence.
And it wasn't slatted so you could see through it, it was a solid looking
Correct.
fence, okay. Okay, Julie, any questions?
No questions.
Silvio?
No questions.
Rose?
I was out there, and I'm curious, why is it needed? Because you can see behind there, it just didn't make sense to me.
Well, you know, my wife has a garden. If you walked toward our house and come in the side door, you would have seen my wife has a garden there, and she just wanted a little privacy. And my daughter put that up for us when we were away over 25 years ago.
Okay.
And nobody's ever said anything about it.
It's only how many feet is it from the front of the porch?
It's like a foot.
Yeah.
In the front of the porch,
No,
Yeah.
I would say it's here,
Porch, you
the
got
trellis
three-
shows, it's probably around 2 feet, 2.5 feet.
2 feet, maybe?
excuse me?
How far is it from,
Well, you
if-
got the porch, you come down 3 steps forward, and then you got the walkway, and the walkway is 2 feet, and then you got about another foot, and then the fence is right there.
but along, if you were to draw a line across from the fence to the porch?
The fence
It's a few feet.
comes up to about the corner of the house.
See, there's the porch right there. See?
Right.
You got about four feet. 4 feet.
4
You know.
Maybe,
Maybe 4
it could
feet.
be,
You have the trellis next to that, right?
correct, the trellis, yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me. It was, because I turned around on the next street, and I could see right through, so I didn't understand why
Yeah.
you
Well,
had
it's
it
not-
there.
It gives a little bit of privacy. It's not total. I mean, we're not gonna put a stockade or, you know, that type of thing. But like I said, my wife works out there in the garden, and she feels comfortable with that. And again, it's been there over 25 years.
Okay.
You done?
No other questions?
John?
Yeah, I wasn't out there, I'm sorry, but how far does the side fence go back along the side of your
2
house?
panels,
2 panels, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's 2 panels, and you have 2 panels in the front,
correct.
and there's nothing on the other side of the house. And it looks like that maple tree is trying to regrow itself.
Well, you know, we had to have it taken down, and my wife loves trees, and she didn't want the tree guy to cut it all the way down. So we had like a face on the trunk on the other side. If you walked in there, you'd see it, and a gnome hanging on there, and she likes it. It's gonna have to come down.
Yeah,
It keeps on rotting, you can't stop time.
I can see it. No further questions.
I mean, it's attractive, and the setup is nice, and I understand why it's there. Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? Come on up, sir. You're going to have to yield the podium for your friend, I'm guessing.
You want to pick up the handheld microphone? Maybe better for you, sir.
There's a
Do you want to
handheld
pick up
mic
the
that you can.
handheld microphone,
Microphone.
so that way it's better for you, or Willie could help you there? Yeah, have him do that.
Should be on.
There you go.
Okay,
Thanks, Billy.
It's on.
Thank you,
it's
Willie.
on. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Perfect. State your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is Charles Cole, C-O-L-E, and I live at 118 Glenard Avenue,
Okay, and you
right
want to
next
be,
door.
you want to be
Right
heard
next
on
door.
this application?
Yes, I do.
And what do you want to say?
I don't see anything wrong with the fence. The other one that was there was rotting out, was gonna fall over. So he put a new fence up, and I can see his reason for putting it there, because his wife has a nice little flower garden there. And she's always out there working in it. If you ever saw the element that walks up and down that street, Glenada Avenue, you would see the reason for having it there. You want a little bit of
So
privacy.
you have no objection to the fence?
No objection at
Okay.
all.
Do me a favor.
It's
and write
right
your-
next to my driveway, and it's set back quite a distance from the road.
So that way you
So
could
there's
see as
no
you're pulling out
problem
of the
pulling
driveway.
out. And so, really, if nobody's complained about this, I don't see any reason for being here for this.
I appreciate that, but we have to
And,
do what we have to do.
Because I know the people that walk up and down. I've lived there since 1973. So I've seen the change since
So-
we got the new sidewalks in years ago.
Right.
And the people that come up there,
All right, no, we
You
we
wouldn't
get it.
believe
We
what
get it.
walks by.
You're for it. It's okay.
I'm for it,
Do me a
yes.
favor and write your name and address on that paper, right there.
Right there.
Right there, okay?
I
You
gotta
could shut the
sign my
mic.
name here?
Yeah, just put your mic down, and does anyone else want to be heard on this application? All right, I'll take a motion,
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
seconded by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, have a seat, and we're going to get to it later.
Willie's here for
Willie's here for what? Which one?
number 6.
Number 6?
Yeah, because I see his name on the plans.
Okay. All right, so number 6, application of 728 Route 6, LLC for a variation of section 156-15, 156-41C9, seeking a variance for permission to alter originally variance front yard. New setback will be 15 feet. Code requires commercial building to exist more than 25 feet from property line, to have freestanding sign. Building is 15 feet from property line. The property is located at 728 US Route 6, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 76.22-1-54. Front yard setback required is 40 feet. What is provided is 15 feet. The variance being sought is 25 feet. A 32-square-foot freestanding sign is required. What is provided is a 40-square-foot proposed with two sides combined. Variance being sought is 8 square feet. Sign not allowed if building is less than 25 feet from property line. It is in fact 15 feet from property line, so they're looking for a variance regarding sign location. Code requires 25-foot side. What is provided is 17.3, and the variance you're looking for is 7.7 feet. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and your address
Good
for
evening,
the
everybody.
record.
William Besharat, 266 Sheer Hill Road, Mahopac. I'm here on behalf of the owners of the property. We've gone to the planning board with this, and we were referred to this board to get a variance. Actually, this is a little bit unique situation, the whole thing. The addition to the building is minute, is really a small addition, and the reason for it is just to bring the door to that space onto the sidewalk and make it uniform with the building. It's better aesthetically. It is safer for the public, will be under, you know, the sidewalk, the covered sidewalk, etc. The space was not added to be, because we need the square footage. No, that area is just for the customers to come, pick up the stuff and leave. It's a strictly takeout business. And dumpling place, which is, I can't wait till it opens anyway, one of my favorite things. With that said, we are, you know, the addition will be aligned with the front of the building. This front of the building had a variance, and the side did have a variance. The actual situation, the building in the front, that encroachment on the front yard setbacks has been pushed back during the renovation and made it a little bit smaller, okay? But therefore, it's still within non-compliance with the setback, so we need a setback. And the code says if you alter pre-existing non-conforming, although it had a variance, you still need a variance for it, and that applies the same thing for the side yard, although we are maintaining the side yard that already had a variance on it, okay? But because we are increasing it and altering it, we need a variance for that. The sign, this building originally did have a freestanding sign,
Yeah.
but it has been relocated to be within the property itself, not within the right-of-way of New York State DOT. So therefore, the location of this sign is need a variance because the code says, again, if the building is not, if less than 25 feet from the property line, you need a variance.
So
for
Willie, it
that.
was closer to the road, not further away?
No, it's gonna be further away
Now-
from.
now it's gonna be further away from the
It
road.
is further away from the road,
Because
correct.
I remember the sign being there,
Yes.
obviously.
It
But that
always
was in the
there.
right-of-way.
That was in the right of way. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
And to accommodate the space, we are proposing a sign that's approximately 20 square feet in an overall encompassed square, although it's a little bit less, but, you know, that's the code says it has to be the square or the rectangle that encompasses the sign to be at 16 square foot per side. And we have submitted copies, I don't know if you got it, of the
Yep.
sign and also the location where it's going to be stuck on the existing stone wall in the front. And that, with that said, again, I'm just going to emphasize something. The addition is not really that we need a space to create a dining room or anything. It's a tiny little space just to bring it out to the sidewalk and make it safer and make it better looking, more aesthetically pleasing.
Willie, why is there a fifth slot on this sign? Are you gonna have another business in there?
That's
eventually?
probably, no, it's just a space down below, just in
It's a
case.
space.
In the future, you never know, the building could be altered, and a store could be broken in half
Fair enough.
into small places. So we are, you know, we'll accommodate, but, you know, the right now is just the free space, as you see them, that's the actual picture of the sign itself.
Anything else, Sil?
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No,
in.
that's okay. That's fine with me.
No, I think we're not, because there's no parking space there, so you're not losing a
No,
parking
no,
space.
we're not.
I think we already granted a variance for that a while ago. No, I think, yeah, I don't have anything else
Okay.
on this one.
Julie, anything? No questions. I'm going to go to John first.
You know, Mike, you
Ladies
were
first.
out there. No,
We
you-
did
Were you
jump
out there? Is there any line of sight issues, you know, with that sign being affixed?
Absolutely not.
on top of
Absolutely not.
that.
It's really above the wall, and the wall itself has zero interference with the side distance, and it's above that. So when you drive, if it's gonna be any side distance problem, it's gonna be from the stone wall, not from the sign. The sign is elevated above that, but as it exists right now, there's zero, and that's basically mainly at the entrance too, not at the exit.
So there's
Yeah,
a
the drive
driveway
around.
on either side of that
Oh, yeah,
facility,
you
right?
enter this way.
It's a one-way?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a one-way.
Change it out that way.
Yep.
Oh,
The sign is over here.
What was it?
yeah, so, yeah, looking to your left,
It's not going to.
if you were coming out, you were well past the sign, you're
Oh,
saying.
yes, you already passed the sign. Like I said, it has zero interference
This-
with the site.
This depiction shows it laying on the rock, but it's actually on a post, 2 posts above the rock?
No, it's gonna be anchored into the.
Oh, it's gonna be
into-
anchored
yeah,
right in there.
Anchored into it. Onto the
No
stone
further
wall,
questions.
Rose.
I'm gonna surprise you, I have no questions.
No questions.
yeah. Rose, come on.
Good night, everyone.
There's always a first time, right?
Yes. Does anyone from the public want to be heard on this? Come on up. One at a time, please. All right. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is April Daly, and I live at 149 East Lake Boulevard. I am a member of the Lake Mahopac Condominium Association, so I'm here to voice my concern and objection to this variance, principally because there's an increase in negative impact, or I should say there's been a negative impact from this business on our property. In particular, we have trespassing from their customers as well as workers at some of these businesses. So for example, they're trespassing through our property, for example, Friday nights, or we have workers coming through at night. Our neighborhood, we're already under severe stress from a business on East Lake Boulevard. We don't need any more stress. We'd like to live in peace. So for that reason, I'm opposing this variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard? Coming up? Thank you for putting your name and address on there. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Donna Massaro, 609 Route 6, Mahopac, New York. I just want to know what the sign's going to look like. Is it going to be fluorescent? I didn't see it. That's all.
Hold on.
Can I come up
You
and
could take
see
Come on up.
Oh, thanks so much.
Or have Willie hand it to you.
Okay. I was just concerned about
Speak
fluorescent
it,
lights.
Donna, speak it to
Yeah,
Like we have
Speak into the
all-
mic, Donna.
I was concerned about fluorescent lights. No offense, Mike, I love his businesses. But just the fluorescent lights that we see down Route 6N,
Yeah.
that's what my concern was. That's
Okay.
all, thank you.
Willie, can you talk about that, answer
Yes,
that question?
the sign is not illuminated, it's a freestanding sign. It's not gonna be creating any, any lighting impact on
Oh,
anybody
it's not
driving.
backlit, Willie?
It says illuminated on there.
Yeah.
that's why.
Illuminated from, there's no lighting in it. It's going to be, as far as I'm concerned, it's gonna be
Reflective.
reflected, yes.
Oh, okay.
No LED lightings in there or anything?
Wait, are you saying it's indirectly illuminated or illuminated from inside?
Yeah, which way is it going here?
Mike, come up here.
Oh, I gotta swear.
He's more familiar with it since he ordered it.
Mike, raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this sign gonna have light in it?
Is a light shining on it or light shining through it?
No, but we
It's an
have,
LED thing?
I think it's inside.
Oh,
You see,
this is.
we make it a box.
It's made out of plastic, and in the trim boards of I think there's lighting in there, and it will kind of illuminate it very, very gently, not brightness, like, it's not gonna be like fluorescent light inside it.
Right.
It's the
an
plastic
illuminated
itself
sign.
will illuminate
a light box.
illuminate itself.
The light box.
Okay.
And will it be on a timer, the light? Will it be off during the day, obviously, and then turned on at a certain time, or?
Yeah, but they have I think they have the sensor, I think. For the nighttime, they on, and the daytime.
And will it
shut
be on all night, even when the businesses are closed?
He
I
said.
think- I think they have the timer there.
Oh, it's a timer.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
great.
the timer will be, like at 1 o'clock, something.
All right.
1, they gotta
That
shut
makes sense.
It has a timer, yeah, you want
Yeah,
a
I mean,
So
timer.
once it
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
on,
we
it
don't
will
wanna
turn
miss
off
the
after a
electrical
while.
there.
But the amount of lighting, it's now, it's like, almost like that.
Well, it's illuminated behind the
Yeah.
acrylic. It's not,
Right.
It's, no, on the side of the acrylic,
Yeah.
and the light travels inside the acrylic
Right.
and kind of make the
Just
lights,
lights it up a little.
the names pop up,
Understood.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You are.
Anybody else?
I have one question.
Yes.
The locate, you almost got away with it. The location of the building,
Correct.
is that on the footprint of the original building?
Absolutely, a little bit is smaller than what it was.
It's smaller than it was.
Correct.
As far as the front goes?
As at the front, the encroaching section of the building has been pushed back away from Route 6.
Away from Route 6,
Away
okay.
from Route
So
6,
it's
yes.
smaller than what it was before?
Smaller, the footprint of the building has not
they're
been
not some
altered.
of
The
it
only
down.
alteration of the footprint of the building will be this addition that we are seeking to approve.
The left side of the building had a jog that came out towards Route 6.
Yes,
Yep.
And that's gone, and now we're,
Gone.
that's all gone.
right. Yep.
Like the building as it exists right now is about, I would say, every bit of 200, 220 square feet smaller than what was originally there.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else from the public need to be heard or want to be heard on this? I'll wait for a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second by Rose. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Okay, I guess we're jumping around. Number 7, application of Laura Mullen for a variation of section 156-10A, seeking a variance for permission to construct a tent on property without principal. The property is located at 8 Canopus Island, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 75.8-1-21. Code requires accessory dwellings on lots with principal, provided is an accessory only, so we're seeking a variance to allow accessory without principal.
it's
Counsel,
canopus.
Welcome. Is your client going to be speaking?
My client is not here this evening, but Diane Flower may speak, so I'd
Okay.
ask you to swear.
Raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, once you state your name and address for the record.
Diana Flower, 174 Wisconsin Pond Road, Mahopac.
Okay, counsel?
Good evening. My name is William Schilling, and I represent Laura Mullen, who could not be here tonight. She's on business in Chicago. Diane, I asked to come. She's the president of the HOA for Canopus Island, and she's a friend of the applicant. This is Canopus Island. It's lot number 28 on the subdivision map. There's about 100 half-acre lots on the Canopus Island There's a total of about 100, and 53 are owned privately or something like that. Go ahead.
53
Use the
total,
microphone.
and there's 27.
Use the microphone that's in
Yeah,
your
use the
hand,
microphone
hold it up to
for
your
it.
mouth.
So
That way
there's,
you get
sorry, so there's 53 total properties and 27 are private.
Bill's
And then
talking about
the county owns the rest.
Bill's talking about the little mini lots that are made up of individual lots, maybe made up of
Correct.
2 or 3 or 4.
Correct. Suffice it to say, there's a ownership of private and a lot of lots that are owned by the county. The lots are primarily half-acre. My client's lot is half-acre. On the property is a small dock. It is very heavily wooded, and my client has owned it for 21 years. What we're seeking is to propose a small tent on the property. It will be 50 feet from the shoreline, and it's a small platform of 12 inches which will secure the tent.
How far from the roadway?
From the what?
It's a joke.
We were going to talk about the lack of road frontage as we went forward here. In order to get the relief that we seek, we are seeking 2 items from you. The first one is the interpretation that this accessory use is an appropriate one under the circumstances and a reasonable one under the circumstances. And the second relief or item of relief we're seeking is a variance, because your code provides that you can't have a primary use, an accessory use without a primary use. And of course, there are no primary uses that ever will be on Canopus Island if things stay the way they are. In support of this, we submitted an affidavit signed by my client and a memorandum of law. Briefly, the facts are that the Canopus Island, as I've stated previously, really doesn't have a potential for a primary use. So it's commonplace for people on Canopus to have pop-up tents that are small, but gives them some modicum of ability to do something on their property. My client's owned it for 21 years, has paid taxes, has paid HOA fees, has paid insurance for the property. And over the years, over the 21 years, she uses it primarily as a gathering for her family. Her mom and dad were there a long time ago for 21 years. Her sisters and her daughters come for holiday parties and what have you. The property is incredibly important to my client. She absolutely loves the place. It's an important gathering place for her family. In the past, she's used those pop-up tents, and she's used them primarily because there's nothing further they can do. And as you suggested, there is no potential for a primary use because there's no frontage, because there's no 3-acre lots, and because there's no chance of getting a sign-off from the emergency services. So we can say it pretty candidly and pretty surely that we are limited on Canopus for just accessory uses. I think it's noteworthy that the county which owns a lot of the lots, has at a time permitted camping, provided they got the permission from the county officials. I apologize for the poor quality of the map, or rather of the Journal News article of 7/12/21, but it does state that the county recognized the right to people to camp, but they had to get permission from county officials. And if you wouldn't mind just, and again, it's a poor quality, and I do apologize. Presently, my client's seeking a seasonal tent, which will be in existence or up from May to September. And the reason that she'd rather have that than a pop-up tent is because it's more comfortable, it's a little bit larger, and it permits for an occasional sleepover where she doesn't want her daughters or her people having to drive late at night and would prefer just to have the night spent over and then leave in the morning. I submit to you, it's a very modest proposal, it's not aggressive, and it's a tent that is, I sent a link to you, I hope you got a chance to see it, the opening and the closing of the tent. If you've seen it, you probably don't need to see this, but I brought a picture of the tent for your information.
I think there's already one in the packet. I think it's two.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah, we have it.
Okay,
We
so the tent, as I said, will be 50 feet from the shoreline. It will be blocked in large part by the tree coverage. It's only hoisted 12 inches by the platform, and it will be seasonal, so that from May to September, the tent will be in place, and then after that, it will be removed, and there'll be no tent to see or not to see. So
That is the question.
I'd like to also, I think it's an important part of this that my client came to Mike to get this permission. People, Michael is probably well aware of people that do things and get permission later. She sought permission right away to do it. And I commend her for that, and I hope you understand that I think it was a wise thing to do, but the right thing to do. And Mike sent her to this board for your interpretation and for your variance. On the issue of the law, the interpretation is first, and it is this, that under all the circumstances with Canopus Island and what it can and can't do, is what we're offering and what we're proposing a reasonable accessory use under the circumstances. And second, a variance for a use that is accessory without a correlating primary use. Those are the two things that I think you have to do in order to enable us to move forward. As it relates to the appropriateness of the use, I provided you a memo, and the law confirms that it's a case-by-case analysis as to whether it's an appropriate use under all the circumstances. You are guided by your discretion, and you're judged under a rational basis standard. The cases I provided to you involved a storage facility, a basketball court, and a gymnasium, an outdoor gymnasium, all of which were found to be reasonable accessory uses under those particular circumstances. Under our circumstances, we have the factors that I hope you'll consider, the size of the tent, the 50-foot setback, the tree brush, the seasonal, all those things I think make this a very reasonable and fair accessory use for my client. And so, secondly, if you agree with that, the variance is for not having a correlating primary use. And I think your code 15610A doesn't really consider Canopus Island in its definitions, because they wouldn't insist on a primary use for Canopus, because everyone knows it's just not applicable. I submit to you this is the only way my client can further enjoy her property without bothering anyone, without infringing on anybody else's rights. The variance standards are difficult to assess because of the circumstances, but I would submit to you the economic hardship is owning for 21 years without a real basis to enjoy her property, and this is a very modest further effort to try to do that. It's certainly unique. Canopus Island, any application before you, and Canopus would probably be unique. The neighborhood won't change. Canopus Island is full of little tents. The county has a history of allowing camping there. I don't think it will be visible, but if it is, it's hardly visible from the shore. The 50-foot setback will further make it, if not impossible, very improbable to be seen. And there's no self-creation here. My client owned it for 21 years and has sought authority and seeks a modest proposal to enhance her use. So in conclusion, I'm asking you to find that it is a reasonable accessory use and for a variance for an accessory use without a correlating primary use.
Just so I'm clear, you're asking for a variance or an interpretation? 'Cause I
No,
don't see
the
interpretation on it.
I think the first thing is a variance, and then you proceed to whether it's reasonable.
All right.
No, you mean the interpretations first, then we
The
go to
inter,
variance.
well,
You didn't
the
ask for an interpretation.
You didn't ask for
No,
interpretation.
No, you just asked for variance.
You asked for a variance.
Say it again?
You just asked for a variance to allow an accessory on the lot
Yeah, that's all.
without a principal,
Okay.
so that's.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah,
I-
that's what,
I guess I wanted to stress to you that it is a reasonable and necessary accessory use.
Ma'am, would you want to be heard on this any further? Use the
I
mic.
would like to say that I know people are worried about, changing any of the, greenery around the lake, around the shore. I would say that we would be able to also plant things to hide, possible, if people can see inside the island, because we really don't want to change any of the island at all,
And
We
you have
wanna
no
keep it
objection to
green.
this application?
Excuse me?
You have no objection to
No,
this
not at
application?
all.
Okay.
And the HOA supports it.
Yes, our whole island supports it,
Okay.
everybody in our association.
All right, so John, any questions?
You know, it looks very good. I saw the video, Bill, that you shared with us, and it went up very, very quick. The video didn't show like that being disassembled. I mean, and I don't know what it takes to disassemble that tent, if it's something,
I think it's just as quick.
the tent, because it is a tent with openings, and it looks pretty decent, like, commercial grade, but what do you do when there's a nor'easter coming or a heavy winds?
I would say we would take it down.
You would take it down?
Yeah, it only takes 5 minutes, I think, to take it down.
The seasonal question, you erect it in May, it comes down in September. It's like 5 months.
It may not even be that long, honestly,
Yeah.
because the weather here isn't that great until June, July. To camp anyway, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's really not that,
it's still not
And
great.
cold some nights.
Yeah.
it's still not nice, right?
Yeah, so would that tent be erected over the deck?
Yes.
Exactly? And the deck's that's sort of freestanding out there.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar with the
It's only,
property.
it's within the boundaries of under 12 inches, 12 inches or under.
As
I mean,
the-
we would be open to whatever you suggest, to help keep it green, and pristine.
You mentioned, you're in charge of the HOA, you're the president, and there's 53 owners?
We only have 27
Oh,
lots.
27 lots, okay.
And some of us own multiple ones, so there's only about 15 actual owners now,
No.
But it would be okay if there was about 20 or so of these tents erected in Canopus, if
I
this
don't think
goes...
you'll ever see that, honestly. A lot of the owners are older now, like we're all, I hate to say it,
new
but
people.
People
we're all
will come in.
getting older now, and
The
so-
variances,
Your camping days are over,
Yeah.
is what you're trying to say?
Almost. Well, we like to be out there
Glamping.
during the day, it's a
Right.
day, mostly a day thing now.
I think, John, it's a case-by-case analysis.
Yeah.
People have to come, and you have to
Yeah.
find the accessory use to be reasonable and rational. We've tried to give you the mitigating factors as to why we don't think there should be any opposition, because we're setting it 50-foot back, we're elevating it only
Right.
12 inches, because we're putting it behind it or ahead of a tree cover, which will blind it from the mainland.
And it really is the only flat area that she would have to keep it under 12 inches, because it slopes up, all those properties slope
Yeah.
up the hill.
Right.
So that's really the best place for her to put it.
It's good. No, thank you. No further questions.
Rose?
I've read the affidavit, and it says that they will not be digging into the soil. However, I assume they'll be staking it, correct?
Goes on a deck.
It goes
How
on
is it
on
attaching?
a platform.
Oh, it'll attach to the deck.
It'll attach to the deck.
Goes on this deck.
All right.
24 foot by 26 foot.
Does the tent company give any specifications on the wind miles per hour that it could withstand?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't have that information.
I've been in some windy tents.
We
I
could
would-
probably find out.
Yeah,
That's
I
more of a
think-
building department issue, though. That's something that we would have to look into.
That's
It's more a structure, or the tent, not even a structure, the tent for you guys. It's an accessory use without a principal.
But if it can't withstand more than,
That's not a zoning board comment, really.
all right, no other questions.
Thank you. Silvio?
Just, so a tent, because of what they're doing, that's why it needs the accessory use?
Because there's no principal use, so there's not a house.
Yeah, but
It's just a tent, which is an accessory without a principal. And the
I didn't
code
realize the
said-
tent was an accessory in our code. That was, I guess,
Yeah,
really
it's
where I
an
was going.
accessory use to put a tent up on your property.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. So I could put a tent on my property because I have a primary, gotcha.
Correct.
Now I understand. No further questions. I needed that clarification.
Sure.
Because this is a new one to me.
Julie?
No questions.
Okay. Anyone else from the public want to be heard on this issue? If not, I'll wait for a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Second by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Council, just so you know, in your absence, we did hold over 1 and 2 at your request.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so that's all of them, right? I know we jumbled up a little bit. So 1 and 2 are held over. Application number 3, Rodolfo Roque. Okay, Roque. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant?
Second.
Second by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Application number 4, Sonia Saldaris Family Trust.
Motion to grant?
Second?
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Application number 5, A. Guaman and D. Fernandez. Do I have a motion?
Motion to grant?
Motion to grant by
Second.
Rose, second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Application number 6, 728 Route 6.
Motion to grant.
Motion to grant by John,
Second.
second by Julie. Should we do a vote, or do you want to discuss?
Do we want to just go through the criteria to make sure everybody's clear on what this board can and can't do?
Why don't you do that, Saul?
Okay, so whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties by granting the area variance. While we did hear some testimony about trespassing that's occurring, me as a single board member doesn't see the incidence of this increasing or decreasing with the granting of this variance. So in my way test mind, there's nothing here. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method, which will be feasible for the applicant to pursue but not require a variance, I think that's pretty clear that's not the case here because, again, it's trying to square out the building for the safety of the customers going in and out. Whether the area variance is substantial, none of these numbers here are really substantial in any of the application here, so I don't have necessarily an issue with that, other than the setback of the building itself, which, of course, is already in play, so nothing there. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, again, not really, and obviously the alleged difficulty is not self-created. So those are the only 5 criteria we could balance, and in my mind, in the balancing test, I would have to vote for this application.
I would agree. This building size hasn't changed.
It's actually
It's actually smaller.
Right.
And back in the day, when it was the former restaurant, they'd have parties and they'd have things going on where they could potentially have a lot more people. So I'm not so sure that there is a huge difference. I know it's several businesses, but certainly that they could have drew a lot more people during parties and things like that. So
Right.
I don't have a problem with it.
All right, so why don't we do a roll call? So, Julie?
4.
4. Silvio?
For the motion?
John?
4.
Rose?
For the motion.
And I'm for the motion also, so it carries over. Finally, number 7, application of Laura Molin. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant.
Second.
Second by Julie. Any discussion?
I'd like some discussion on it.
Okay. Rose?
I do have some concerns over weather. I see that the applicant, their principal address is not in New York. Who's gonna take it down if someone's not around to take down the tent, number one. And John brought up a good point, being, what, is it gonna become Tent Village at some point? You know, once you grant the variance to one, I understand every case stands on its own, but we could have many tents going up in that area. So I do have some concerns over what could potentially happen, and not knowing what the impacts are of wind on a tent this size. I am concerned it could hurt somebody, it could fly across the lake and hit somebody, or it could wind up in the middle of the lake. So those are my concerns.
Speaking as a father of Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts actually, I spent lots of nights in tents on windy nights, and I saw the video, and I don't have any qualm about this tent really doing anything. If I'm not mistaken, it even has a vent system, which is helpful for when the wind blows, so I really don't see it. It seems like it's gonna be taken care of, but I understand what your position is on that. And I don't see it being a tent city out there, I really don't. But I understand where you're coming from. Anyone else want to be heard?
Again, I'm just gonna go by the 5 criteria and looking, and I'm
I
not
think
gonna
it's
repeat them
4.
again.
I think we have to go with the 4.
Well, no, because this is one of those weird ones, right, where it's area, but it's not area, or we're treating it as area.
Area, right?
Yeah, you've always treated it as area where people
Yeah,
want
we
to put a
treat it as
shed.
area,
Area?
even though
This is the equivalent of putting a shed on a lot on Lake Mahopac, on the roadside.
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes by
All right,
area,
then-
it's
then-
not by use. So, again, because of that, you know, and going through it, like I said, I'm not gonna read the 5 criteria again. I, again, weigh it towards the applicant. I see that there's really no adverse effect to the neighborhood because nobody here has come out against it. It's definitely not substantial in any way, sense, or form, nor is it self-created. I don't really have any
Yeah, I don't-
concern.
I don't see it either. Anyone else?
I believe that, you know, all the questions I asked were answered, you know.
Okay.
And, you know, it's, looks like a pretty, you know, sturdy product.
We'll do a roll call. Julie?
4.
Silvio?
For the motion.
John?
For the motion.
Rose?
Against.
And I'm for the motion. Okay. Last but not least, we have 2 minutes, April 27, 2023, and May 25th, 2023.
Motion to accept both is written.
Anybody want a second?
Second?
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion closed.
Motion is granted. Everyone have a happy and safe 4th of July.